Whitson. Wes Whitson, welcome to Everybody in Charlotte podcast.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, Robbie.
Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, man, good to see you too.
Long
Thanks
time.
Been a little while, yeah.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we know each other. That's kind of how I generally start these things. I would say, obviously, we went to high school together. We're the same class at West Charlotte. Like,
Yep.
that's the given. But I feel like we probably met before that. I definitely met your brother.
Yeah.
Because in my younger kind of middle school years, I was buds with like Barksdale and that whole crew
Yeah.
who were buds with your brother. And I think like church retreat, like Montreat and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I think that's probably where we cross paths, possibly
Definitely.
earlier than West Charlotte.
Yeah, probably so. Now that you mention it, that Montreat connection there for sure. And my brother played ball. He didn't play school ball, but y'all probably played some ball on the court together a little bit.
Absolutely did.
But
I think we bumped heads a little bit.
Probably so. He's I still see him a good bit. But one thing I'm so proud of is the fact that we're West Charlotte Lions, man.
That's right.
I tout that every chance I get. People, when I do some interviews with things, I love to let people know that I'm a Charlottean and a Lion. Heck yeah, man. Class of '95.
I feel the same way. I brag about it.
Absolutely.
Especially now, it's interesting, living in Charlotte with so many people, and so many people that didn't grow up here and don't know anything about Charlotte. And obviously, West Charlotte is a little different than it used to be. But when you say you went to West Charlotte, the eyes get even bigger than they used to.
Yeah,
right. It's kind of funny.
I rarely ever get somebody go, well, now what's that? It's always the eyes get bigger, and they're like, really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. So did you go to Piedmont?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure did. I went to J.T. Williams for 7th grade.
J.T.
And
Dub,
then,
all right.
yeah, man. So I hustled through that year, and then got chosen in that lottery or whatever it was to go over to Piedmont Open Middle, and that was a life-changing event, going from the environment that was current at JT at that time, going over to Piedmont. I remember laughing more that first day with a bunch of my old buddies that were already there than I had in a long time. It was great.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, so fast forward, 20, 30 years?
Ooh, let's just say till now.
Fast forward some years.
Yeah, a few years.
And you are currently the festival director of MerleFest.
That's
music
correct.
festival in Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
That's it.
One of the most renowned folk and bluegrass festivals in the country.
Well said.
You're the director.
Yeah, man.
How about that?
It's kind of a crazy little story, but yep, I've been the director for about 2 years now. Moved to that area. MerleFest takes place on the campus of Wilkes Community College in Wilkesboro, just a short ride up the road from here, not far. But moved to that area with my wife from Asheville years ago, right before we had children, at the urging of my parents. Hey, come join a family business and you'll be near us when y'all have kids. They wanted the grandkids around.
Were they near there? Or?
Yeah, they had moved to Wilkesboro.
Gotcha.
To a place called Leatherwood, looking for a place to ride horses back in the early 90s. And so we followed them there in the early 2000s. And I was working in a family business and had fun doing that. But I saw an ad in the paper for the operations manager position at MerleFest, and it was through Wilkes Community College. Mm-hmm. So applied for that job and wound up getting that job as the operations manager, which I only found out at that point was kind of second in line to the director. Me and the former director, he included me on every meeting, and they were pretty much grooming me along for his eventual retirement, which happened about 2 years ago. So
how long were you there until that happened?
Let's see, fall of 2017 is when I started with the college. So
about 5 years or so. 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, going on 7 now. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique job. I have a government state job running a bluegrass folk music festival, and that's all I do, and it's a full-time job. We've got several other people on our staff that do the same thing, full-time job year-round, making sure that festival that goes off without a hitch.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because, I played music. I was in Mr. Davenport's jazz band and all this kind of stuff, playing in garage bands and things with Toby Weaver and a bunch of those guys. And, so music has always been a passion of mine. And so pretty cool when you can combine a passion and a career,
Ideal. It's kind of heavenly, right?
Very thankful. Very thankful.
That's
for sure.
incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into MerleFest. being from Charlotte, being close to Wilkesboro, being a bluegrass and folksy, music guy, or a music guy in general,
Yep.
I've known about it. Unfortunately, I've never been, and that's a little embarrassing. But I've always wanted to, and I've always got a lot of friends that go. I just never have gone. Festivals have always been something that, I quit drinking 18 years ago. So,
Right.
and we'll get to why it makes more sense to go to MerleFest as a non-drinker. But when I think of music festival, that's kind of where my head goes, and I
Right.
just don't gravitate towards those things as much anymore. That being said and put aside, let's go into MerleFest. Give us a little history of MerleFest. I did my research,
Nice.
but I'm going to let you, the expert, take over and give us a quick one.
Well, thanks again for the opportunity to talk about it. Because I'm like you. I was aware, didn't know all there was to know about it. But like I said earlier, my folks had moved to Wilkes County and pretty much bribed my wife and I to move there from Asheville. And so, and I guess when I was in college, started going to the festival as a fan. So I've got that background before I started working for the festival. But that whole time, it was really lost on me, and I really had no idea that MerleFest was actually started as a fundraiser for Wilkes Community College and the students in that community there surrounding the college. And they started in 1988. There was a horticulture instructor named B. Towns who was trying to raise some money for the gardens on campus. It's a beautiful campus. There's gardens all over the place. But they have this one piece that he envisioned building, the Garden of the Senses. And the whole point was so that folks that could not see could show up, smell flowers, feel what was in there, and there's braille descriptions, there's sculptures and things like that. So it's an interactive experience for the blind, but it's a garden.
A little bit of an ode to Doc.
Well, absolutely. Well, and that's exactly where Doc Whitson comes into the story.
Okay.
To raise money for those gardens, that horticulture instructor, B. Towns, he knew a friend who knew Doc Whitson who lived up the road in Deep Gap. See, we're in Wilkesboro, then there's Deep Gap, then there's Boone above that.
Okay.
So this is in between Wilkes and Boone.
Got it.
Anyway, they went to Doc and Doc was known for helping out, doing fundraisers and things. Doc, help us do a one-day concert and raise a little money for these gardens. And Doc said, sure, I'll be glad to do that. However, I'll do it if you'll do it in honor of my late son, Eddie Merle Watson. He died a couple years prior to in a tractor accident, farming accident. So the college said, well, sure, we'll do that. And they had scheduled it for this auditorium in 1988 at this college. Well, a good problem, Doc has a lot of friends. He started calling his friends like old Grandpa Jones that was on Hee Haw and Earl Scruggs and Bill Monroe and people, super famous musicians.
Wow.
Marty Stewart, what have you. And they all agreed, sure, Doc, we'll come play with you at this thing.
Oh my God.
So we got an 1,800 seat or 1,100 seat auditorium that it outgrew immediately. They started looking around and found a field on campus and put a flatbed trailer out there and had the first Eddie Merle Watson Memorial Festival in 1988. Okay. And it just blew up from there. But and I can give you a longer version, but the way they set it up to be a fundraiser for the college and bring in food vendors that are nonprofit groups, athletic booster clubs and things like that, they built this thing and the foundation to where it just did so much good for the community, and that was its sole purpose. Mm-hmm. And you've got all these famous musicians willing to come take part in that. Mm-hmm. It was just such a cool thing, and it just grew from there. So here we are. This is 36 years later, and we're still raising money for students.
Oh, man, there's so much to dig into there. That is, talk about like just not a perfect storm, but just this perfect little like ball of mission and goal and of course throwing in the talent level of Doc and all of his success and his network and to make it not at all a profit oriented type situation, right? That's the idea. It's raising money for all these other things that are the good for the community and dude, that is amazing.
Student scholarships, capital projects like MerleFest has helped build a few different buildings there on campus, technology upgrades, training for staff. we touch a little bit of everything over there.
I mean, is it the biggest fundraising? I mean, it's got to be the biggest fundraising event for the area.
It is
at all.
definitely for the county and for the surrounding area. It is the 4 days of MerleFest is the biggest fundraising opportunity or event that there is in the county. There's countless nonprofit groups that do different things, from run crosswalks to park cars to serve food. They all look at that as their major opportunity every year.
Yeah.
To raise money for their clubs. An athletic booster club can come in there and work 4 days of MerleFest and raise enough money that they don't have to do a bake sale or anything else the rest of the year.
Unbelievable. Just because of the amount of people coming through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many is that?
We average north of 70,000 over the 4 days. So I'm hoping we hit the 75,000 mark this year. We're not looking to grow and expand a large amount in the coming years. Our campus is kind of what it is. We've only got so much real estate. We just want to do it better than we have the year before and keep growing it that way. But yeah, our Wilkes County has about 3,500 people as far as the population goes. So we bring a few visitors to town every year.
That is insane. All right, so and my next question was going to be, how far do you grow it? And so I understand there's limitations as far as space. So the way to grow is quality. Talent level, I mean, I guess you probably don't have a problem with that, do you?
Well, not really. I mean, Doc started this thing with his friends, and of course, Doc's not with us anymore, and some of his friends are also not with us, but there's still several folks that are doing this thing for Doc and getting in there and helping out, and the modern day artists that may not know much about Doc's history, although a lot of them do. They see the value of the fundraising aspect of it. So it's still very much a bucket list item for several of the I hate to use the word headliner, but headliner type acts.
Sure.
And of course we like to represent all different angles of the music industry and folks at different levels in their career. So we have band competition and that sort of thing, and several of our older buddies have been through there and playing on different stages. We've got 12 stages and about 100 artists this year.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
12 stages.
down from 13 a few years ago. We pulled one back.
It just got to be too much.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so how do you continue to grow? Is it more around just staying consistent every year? Or are you trying to get more and more money through, or just different ways? Or this is my capitalistic mind going a little bit.
I hear you.
Just curious.
Really, we just focus on the quality of what we're putting
Love
out
it.
there. As far as we're really well known as being a well-run event. Everybody that comes says this festival's this is run better than any festival I've been to. So we try to grow in the ways that we provide the quality event, but also in the ways that we can help the students and figure out different ways. We see an automotive building that needs an upgrade or something like that. We want to be there to help out, and it's just it's kind of following the trend of the day and seeing where industry and the corporate world is going, and the trades and where we can get in and help. We're just trying to be as involved as we can in the futures of the kids in Wilkes County and the surrounding area.
Yeah.
And they need it like they do everywhere. There's a lot of kids out there that weren't lucky enough to grow up with the family surrounding them like that you and I had. So we're there to help.
So the programs that this fundraising helps, is the majority of it inside the community college?
Yes. Well, actually, yes and no. There's official scholarships and Doc Whitson Emergency Fund and our SAGE program and things like that are run through the college. But as I mentioned, there's 60 to 70 nonprofit organizations that come in and help during the festival that are raising money
For their own programs.
for their own purposes outside that. So I mean, it could be it's all nonprofit. So it could be a church group, it could be an athletic booster club,
All local
Boy
in
Scouts.
the county?
Yes, yeah, for the most part, all local in the county. Although we have a couple of food vendors from a couple of other surrounding counties. Ashe and Allegheny County are sister partners with Wilkes Community College. We have campuses there, So we've got some folks coming in from there. Police forces from Ash and Allegheny are sending officers to help with security.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a huge undertaking.
Golly.
But yeah, lots of folks from all over.
Very cool. All right, so I also saw like the school day stuff.
Yeah.
So some schools, if I read this correctly, some of the students, you have a day where students can come in, be a part of the festival, but you also have a day where the musicians go to schools.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yep.
Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, that's our school day and our school outreach program. School day, it happens on Friday of the festival, and it's a field trip to MerleFest for 17
How
different.
cool is that?
17 different schools. They bus them all over. We unload them all, and they all filter down into the festival. And just get to hang out. There's shops and kids activities as well as music, jugglers, all kinds of stuff going on. So they love it. They run around and socialize with their friends, and I'm hoping that they're watching and seeing what's going on these stages and learning about giving back and volunteerism and that sort of thing at the same time. So that's MerleFest School Day. Our outreach program in those same 17 schools, we send artists out with a small production crew to each of those schools, and they'll do a little performance in the gym or the auditorium there. And so those kids that we were speaking about earlier that may not get those opportunities to go out and see the arts up close and personal, we're bringing it right to the school and letting them get a taste of it at school. So and that's sponsored through Department of Natural Cultural Resources. Come Here NC has been involved with the festival, and so it's a really cool thing.
That is super cool. Is that during kind of the festival days, or would that be leading up to?
That actually happens on Thursday of the festival. So it's
Wow.
April 25th through the 28th this year. But yeah, that's Thursday the 25th is the outreach. That's going on that morning and during that school day, Our stages crank up at about 3 o'clock on Thursday. So things really get going at that point, and outreach is pretty much over by then.
Yeah.
Then the very next day, you've got school day going on where several thousand kids are showing up to come hang out at the festival. So it's a friendly environment to begin with. So the schools love it.
Yeah, I imagine they do. I imagine the students do too. What a fun field trip that would be.
Yeah.
And then I saw there was an opportunity for kids to showcase their own talents. There's some.
That's right.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, the Andy Mays Acoustic
Andy
Kids
Mays.
Project. So they have a couple workshops during the festival, and then towards the end they get a set up on the cabin stage, which we have our main stage, which is the Whitson Doc and Merle Watson Theater is the technical name there, and then so it's kind of a big barn-looking setting. You may have seen pictures. Then off to the side, we have a little mountain cabin sitting there, and the front porch of that cabin is the cabin stage. So all of Andy May's kids, students, they get to go up there and get to play in front of thousands of people, and we've got an open mic that goes on in our Little Pickers area. We've got a Little Pickers stage, which we do some kids programming there. Some of these artists that we've got some bands that are 13, 14-year-old kids that we'll book to play in there for kids,
Oh my God.
and that sort of thing. And they love Scythian too, and different bands like that. So Little Pickers is a happening spot. So we try to take care of the kids.
Little pickers.
Yeah.
Little flat pickers.
Right.
I love it. Love it. All right. So tell me a little bit about the alcohol-free aspect. Why, what's the history on that, and why is that a thing? That is rare.
Right, it is. It is. We feel that's something that really makes us stand out a little bit amongst all the festivals that are out there these days. You can't hardly throw a stick without hitting a festival.
Yeah,
somewhere.
or a glass of beer. Yeah,
Exactly. So it goes back to the history, and just from the very beginning, Doc and the folks that put this together. I think or I'm sure that it was one of Doc's wishes is that alcohol not be a part of what we do at the festival.
Why is that?
I think Doc was a fairly religious man, or I know he was from talking to folks that knew him very well. I got to see him perform a lot, but I never met him face to face. But I know his daughter and have met several of the guys that played with him and the folks that traveled with him. And kind of, he had folks that would travel with him and make sure he got in the hotel okay and that sort of stuff, and work his merch table and that sort of thing. And I know those guys well. And Doc was not scared at all or not shy to share his religion and his testimony with folks. And I think that's just a part of who he was.
Yeah.
Is that
Clean living.
Yeah, clean living. The alcohol was just not something he was interested in. Now, there could have been people along the way that that maybe questioned that, because you can. It's a lucrative thing
No
to
question.
sell some alcohol at your
A
festival.
lot of demand.
Exactly. But MerleFest has held strong on that founding principle over the years, as well as several others, about just being family friendly and safe. And I do think it sets us apart. It creates an amazing environment. Yeah. So we do not sell any alcohol at the festival, and don't have that to lean on. We that keeps our budget pretty tight, especially being that we're a fundraiser, and doing it without the benefit of alcohol profits. I think is pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah,
it very much is. Being in that world myself, I do go to a lot of fundraisers around here, and a lot of them are mental health oriented or even treatment focused. And the the dilemma is, all right, we're trying to raise money, but we're all recovering alcoholics. We can't serve alcohol, or that'd be a little hypocritical. But we also know that if we did, people would spend more money.
Right. Yeah.
But you stay strong.
Yeah.
And that serves the mission, and it speaks highly and speaks volumes of the mission.
You clearly believe in the mission and know you're on the right track with that, so you just hold strong.
That's right.
And hey, we're here. It's been 36 years. We got through those past few years where we had that little challenge, and we actually had to cancel our 2020 festival altogether.
Did you?
Yeah. We had and it happened in mid-March. So we were full steam ahead, posters printed, shirts printed, all that, going strong, and got the word from the government, hey, we're going to have to shut this thing down. So lived through that deal. That's a whole nother episode, though. We could talk about that for days.
I'm sure, and I think a lot of people have episodes they could share around that experience.
Sure.
All right, well, let's do this now. Thank you for all of that information, the history, the context.
Yeah.
I love it. It really it gives just the story and the authenticity and the genuineness to the whole deal. So let's move into more of the logistical stuff. Let's give our listeners information on where to get tickets, website. We can throw a couple social handles out there, but this will all be in our digital promotion. But let's talk about it here real quick, and then we'll wrap it.
Definitely. So tickets are on sale. We've still got several different ticket packages out there for folks from general admission to the more VIP type experiences. But folks can go to MerleFest.org. That's our website, and find links to buy tickets there. There's also a MerleFest app out there that's got stage schedules and artist bios, and of course, links to purchase tickets in there. So people can download that now, and it's updated to find information on the lineup and the different stage schedules to pick out your day or buy your 4-day pass, what have you. 800-343-7857. We've got somebody in the box office working there now that can pick up the phone, and if somebody wants to pick up the phone, just ask a few questions. They can do that and talk to a live person there. But we've got free parking and free shuttle from the parking right to the front gate. Free program for everybody. Kids under 12 get in free. And again, lots of stuff for kids to do there, from the Little Pickers activities we talked about to just rows and rows of shops vendors. We have a heritage crafts section where folks they're making what they're selling, and while they're there selling what they're making, they're demonstrating that they're making it. So that's a really cool little aspect of it. So yeah, we've got a great lineup this year. Music starts on April 25th at about 3:00 in the afternoon. Then we crank up at gates open at 9:30 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday, Friday and Saturday we'll go till 10:30 at night or so, but Sunday afternoon, the last band this year, which is going to be Nickel Creek, they'll be following Lucas Nelson and POTR. So you got Lucas Nelson, then you'll have a cabin act, and then Nickel Creek. All that'll shut down Sunday afternoon by about 5:30, 6:00. So Sunday you can
Give
hop,
everybody a little time.
yeah, hop back in the
recovery.
hop back in the car and get back to Charlotte before the workday the next day. You know,
That's right.
but got a great lineup. As I mentioned, Nickel Creek, Lucas Nelson, Promise of the Real. Flipping back over to Thursday night, Old Crow Medicine Show. Those guys are a MerleFest favorite. They've been around about as long as we have, but I think they're celebrating over 20 years in the business, and they've been coming to our festival that long, off and on, you know. So their Thursday night, Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway are before those guys. But the Teskey Brothers, you may have heard of. Those guys are going to hit the stage Saturday night. And the Turnpike Troubadours, Larkin Poe, just so many different bands to name. I'm sure I'm leaving out several. Probably did a bad job of running down
That's
that
all right.
lineup
We can
right
go
there.
to the website.
Right on. Yeah, go to the website merlefest.org to check it out. It's an incredible lineup when you do take it all in. It's really kind of mind blowing to see that we've got that much talent and that many acts at this one little festival in this little county just north of here.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So if I mean, people from Charlotte, local area, can probably up and back it, but are there decent opportunities of places to stay? Obviously, I think there's some camping, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, camping is a big thing at MerleFest. All of our, as I said, it's kind of we've got a few hotels in town, and most of those book out pretty quickly.
Sure.
So you'd have to probably look outside of Wilkesboro just a touch, maybe Boone area or Jonesville, to find a hotel at this point. But what you want to do is come camp. Everybody loves to come camp at MerleFest. I did that a lot when I was younger. There's River's Edge camping that is right across the street, and the shuttles run straight to the front door from there. Then we've got this other campground that's run by the county, and it's called Sewerfest. And there's 4,000 or more folks camping over there. It's a beautiful property that is absolutely located at one of our sewer treatment plants in the county. But it's beautiful rolling hills and trees and just gorgeous. But it's on site of a sewage treatment plant.
Hey.
Our fans are kind of roll with it type folks. They love it. They print up shirts, Sewerfest.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of camping opportunity.
I
up
love
there.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, you heard it here. Wes Whitson, Festival Director of MerleFest.
That's it, man.
Thank you for
so
coming in.
much. Robbie,
I really appreciate you coming in.
Oh man, thank you so much for
This
the
is amazing.
opportunity. Always love an opportunity to share things about MerleFest and then catch up with an old buddy, man. I appreciate it.
Of
Yeah.
course. All right. Well, I'm going to take you up because I'm going to come this year.
Awesome.
I've already told my wife. I've
Cool.
already told my daughter.
Well, bring them along, man.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
that'd be great.
All
They'll
right.
love it. You guys will love it. I can't wait to see your reaction when you see what all we've got going on up there.
I can't wait either, man. Thank you.
Thank you.